Hey there, everybody, it's Enigmatic Entertainment back again with another video, and this time it's Enigmatic Advice again. So, as usual, I pick a topic that I have some experience on that I want to share with everybody and give them some of my tips, tricks, advice, so on and so forth, etc., etc. Or you guys pick a topic and suggest it, recommend it, and whatnot. And, I think about it, and this time it is once again a suggested topic. And it just so happens that I'm very well experienced with this topic. So let's go. This is long distance relationships, LDRs. I have a bit of experience in those throughout my years since I was like a teenager, pretty much. Experienced them quite a lot, honestly. So, I've been in there, so to speak. And some of the advice I'd give for people that are already in one or trying to get in one, I'm not going to tell you what like apps or websites or places to look for or anything like that necessarily. That's up to you. If you just Google it real quick, you can find plenty of different, places to check, of course. Um, it's not about how to get into one or find one necessarily, but some of the trials and tribulations and things that you will need while you're in one and how to make them a little bit more successful from my personal experience. So, first of all, there's plenty of different ways they can start. Like I said, apps, different websites. Maybe you were on vacation and you meet somebody that just lives far away from you, and or vice versa. They were on vacation and you want to continue that relationship, that bond. So, you know, also I'm going to real quick define it for those that don't know. My definition, basically for me, it's if you live in like a whole other country, or in regards to like a large country, if you live on like the other side of it, like for the United States, like East Coast to West Coast, or Northeast to the Deep South, you know where there's some distance. It takes planning. You have to plan things out. You can't just go visit them after work or after school. It takes more than maybe an hour and a half or so to get to them. um or 2 hours. I'd consider any of that long distance. If you have to get a plane ticket, train ticket, hop on a boat, so on and so forth, there's traveling and planning involved, and you can't just, like on the spur of a whim, really just go do it without much of a hassle and, investing a lot of time and money into that. So that's my definition pretty much. Now, moving on, I'm going to, of course, be throwing out some keywords that I feel that everyone that especially is going to be doing these or is in these already going to want to just know in case you don't already know. Hey, starting off, I'm going to throw out one: communication. Very important keyword, guys. Communication is key. Very, very important. I cannot stress this enough. Um, they say a lot of, communication is nonverbal, and, use body language and things of that nature, facial expressions and whatnot. We can't do this with long distance relationships much because we're going to be mostly interacting with them over, over the phone, through text messages, emails, various apps and websites, maybe writing letters, whatever works. So it's hard to do nonverbal communication, body language, things of that nature, which especially might be harder for some of us who have problems expressing ourselves with just words, especially if it's through text. Understandably so. Another important thing about communication is making sure that you always have an open line of communication to your significant other, whether that's texting, calling, video calling, writing a letter, like I said, a second phone number to call, landline, their work number, um, address to write them. Make sure you have all these pieces of information once you are in the relationship. That's this is one of the most important things. You want to make sure you can communicate with them. If they live with relatives, maybe a really close friend, or parents and whatnot, siblings, you want to make sure that if this is indeed a serious relationship, that you do reach out to them as well. Of course, you talk to your significant other first, and starts that that forming that bond of communication in case of emergencies and whatnot, since they are obviously much closer physically to the person than you are. It's always good to have that. That is something that can be very helpful in relationships as well, for long distance ones especially. Another keyword I'm going to throw out is expectations. This, of course, is also a part of communication, and you're going to want to make sure that you communicate your expectations, what you want and need out of the relationship from your significant other, and what they want and need from you in return. If you need to talk to them for 2 hours a day and they need three, work with them 2.5. Okay, cool. For example, you know what I mean? If they need a lot of um, reassurance and affirmations and compliments, discuss these things beforehand, because things can get hard with the lack of seeing your significant other. I've experienced that plenty of times. It's not very easy. It can be very hard to deal with. Emotions are involved, and sometimes it doesn't always go the best. But you can help mitigate these problems if you discuss your expectations earlier on in the relationship, so you know what you're getting yourself into and they know as well. So, communication, expectations. I'm going to throw out another key word right now: intimacy. I'm not going to get too vulgar, explicit, you know what I'm saying? But we all have our urges and our needs when it comes to that thing. So, because the lack of physical intimacy, you're going to have to, you know, handle it the best you can, no pun intended. What turns you on? Is it going to be, do you need some certain phrases or words said, some certain noises and sounds? Do you need a video call? Do you need them to do something on that video call, show you something? Do you need, lingerie involved? Whatever it is, we all are adults here, hopefully, or old enough at least to be in a relationship. So let's be honest with ourselves. What do you need? I know what I need and what I want and what I request from my partner, and they should know too and be able to tell me, do you want to see me do this? You want to see me do that? You know what I'm saying? So intimacy is very important, and it's understood that there's expectations, once again, goes on, and you communicate those expectations of intimacy. They're all tied together, but keep in mind these individual keywords and parts to help build a more whole relationship. So, make sure that you keep the spark there, keep it alive, because that is a very important part of the relationship, and that's just, human nature. And then when you do see each other in person, make sure that these expectations and levels of intimacy that were already discussed beforehand, so you're not wasting time trying to have the conversation and having any kind of disappointment once you do meet physically. Another keyword I'm going to throw out there is bonding. You need time to bond, build that relationship. You're going to want to spend a lot of time talking and doing your hobbies. If you have hobbies, similar interest. There are various apps and websites and whatnot you can use, and thanks to technology, various ways you can still, have movie nights, movie dates, you can work on things together. You can look the stuff up online. I've watched plenty of series and movies and whatnot with people online, thanks to the power of PCs and, smartphones and so on and so forth, smart TVs. It's great. It helps us still keep a close bond even though we're far apart. Do they like watching, Pokemon? You do too? Or maybe if you don't, but you're going to watch it with them. All right, let's find a website. Let's find an app where we can watch it together, stream it together, and just have fun with it. Thanks to video calls, this is much easier to do nowadays. Granted, it's not the same as being right next to each other in the movie theaters or in bed together or on the sofa and whatnot, but it is the next best thing. So making sure you have a good internet connection is also quite important as well, of course, and that you have a stable, good, cell phone service. But that's a whole nother story, but that is also important as well. Another key word I'm going to throw out there is planning. Plan things ahead. Do you need a few weeks off of work, off of school? Do you have homework, assignments, exams? Do you have projects due? Do you have commitments to your family or friends? Um, Make sure that stuff is planned ahead. Let everyone else know because it is your relationship. But if you have prior commitments, do not neglect those either because that is not the healthiest way also to continue and to build a strong, healthy romantic relationship as well. But discuss these things. Let them know you're going to be visiting your significant other or vice versa. They will be coming to visit you. You need a place to stay. Are they not able to stay where you live due to various, circumstances that might occur? Then you need a place to stay. Do you have to rent a hotel? Do you need to rent an Airbnb or various other, home sharing websites and apps? Figure this all out. Do you need a plane ticket, train ticket, boat ticket, bus ticket? Do you need to rent a vehicle? I've been through all this stuff myself. It's a lot of planning and organization involved in this. And of course, the financial factor. How much money do you have to spend? How much do you need to spend to get this all done? Typically, if you do these things further in advance, you have more time to save up money and to spend it more properly. And you also have more time to, work overtime or find ways to make the money or to handle your spending better or borrow it. Whatever you need to do, of course, is on you. This is up to your own individual financial situation, of course. Just make sure that, once again, keyword is planning. Also, work out everything else, like what you're going to do. A lot of this stuff can be worked out in advance, so there's less time spent being, on this stuff once you finally do meet in person. It's a joyous occasion. Spend that time bonding and having quality in-person connected time. You know what I'm saying? Another key word, honesty. This goes for any kind of relationship, so this is should be an obvious one, of course, but be honest with your partner, whether it comes to the expectations, whether it comes to the plans, or, just not wanting to be disappointed, or about the intimacy even. Be honest. It is much easier for you to do, shady activities and whatnot. I'm sure you can imagine what I'm saying because they are, miles and miles away from you. They can't really just pop up on surprise you at work, school, at home, your friends, so on and so forth. So it's much easier to get away with things, of course. But if you're that kind of person, then you probably don't really want to be in a committed relationship anyways. So this probably doesn't apply to you. But still, if you don't want a serious relationship, let that be known. If you do want a serious relationship, let that be known. Are you monogamous? Are you polyamorous? Let it all just be known. Put it out on Front Street so there's no kind of disappointments or surprises. Once again, this goes back to expectations. And of course, that goes into communication as well. Like I said, all these keywords are intertwined with one another to help form a healthy relationship and bond. Last keyword really is execution. Simply put, once your plan is made, the communication has been, everything has been communicated properly. The expectations have been communicated. You've committed to it. Now you execute. If you need to be at the airport this time, you need to be at the train station at this time, you need to be at the bus station this time, you have to meet them here at this time, you have to do whatever you got to do. Be punctual, be organized, be ready. And of course, first impressions are very important. Even though you know this person, first impressions are very important as well when first meeting them face to face as well. So be presentable as well and be yourself because that's who they, of course, were naturally interested in. So just execute your plan and to the best of your ability, try to mitigate any kind of problems that might occur. Of course, nobody's perfect and accidents do happen, but through proper planning, we can help mitigate and keep those losses and disappointments and issues and problems at a minimal. So that's just a little bit of the problems and things that I recommend, keywords and things that you should do in order to help have a stronger long distance relationship. Also, last but not least, part of the expectations is, where do you see this going? Are you eventually going to move in together, move in where they are at, move in where you are at, switch jobs, relocate, switch schools? All of these things are part of the bonding, the expectations, the planning, communication. All these things go into that because ultimately, typically, the idea or goal is to move together and be closer. But all these things, once again, communication is probably the number one keyword, I would say. Planning, and of course, honesty and whatnot goes into that. Intimacy, I would say, intimacy is another one of the most important keywords right up there along with those as well. Keep these things in mind, and you can have a better, healthier, stronger long distance relationship, or LDR for short. And you can make it just as strong as if you had a, regular or short distance relationship, the more conventional way of doing things or traditional. But you found this person, you met this person, and it's for a reason for it. So don't let these problems that can occur deter you from building a relationship, even if there is a distance. I've talked to multiple people that they let the long distance, drive a wedge or prevent them from even getting closer. As oxymoronic as that sounds, I suppose, to that person. And they let that be an excuse to not do it. But don't let that deter you. You can do it. You just have to have the mentality and keep some of these keywords in mind, and that's all. So, best of luck, guys. Hang in there. If you're in one, keep it strong. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment section if you have any questions in the comments, about the video, about this topic. And if you're in a LDR yourself, feel free to tell me how it goes. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Click the thumbs up button if you like the video. Share it with a friend, family member, anybody. Just share it. Of course, follow the channel on Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter. Follow the tit. And thank you for watching. This is Enigmatic Entertainment with Enigmatic Advice. I'll be back next time with another topic. Of course, if you have recommendations, suggestions, leave them in the comment section below or reach out to me on any one of those sites. Links will be in the description box below. I am out.